Well, hello there. I'm Jane Hogan, the Wellness Engineer. This is my monthly live Q&A on chronic pain. I'm just going to pop into my YouTube channel to see if I'm live there. I hope it's live. It says that it's live. That's good. If you can hear me, then please leave a comment. Post in the comments that you can hear me. I'm just going to also put on my glasses and pop into my Facebook page and see if it's going live there. It doesn't look like it is, so I got a backup plan. I'm going to go live on my phone. There we go. So welcome. Hi there. So I'm just joining in with the Facebook group. I'm also live on YouTube. This is my monthly live Q&A where you can ask me anything about chronic pain. And I'm all about helping people heal chronic pain naturally. There's a lot we can do with chronic pain on our own. I'm Jane Hogan. I'm the Wellness Engineer, and I had my own story with chronic pain. I had rheumatoid arthritis, terrible pain, but I reversed it all naturally. And I really started doing a lot of study into the science of pain and also ancient practices and how that helped with chronic pain. So let me see. We're having trouble seeing it done. No worries. So if you are watching live, please just put in a little comment. Let me know whether you can hear me okay. Okay. All right. I got multiple screens going here, and I'm also got my phone going. Okay, so let's get started. I did have some questions submitted ahead of time, and so I'm going to go through those first, but I want to encourage you to pop any questions in the chat and or the comments. So let me see, I'm in Facebook. Can I see this live there as well? I can. Okay. Maureen, thank you very much. Maureen said she can hear me. Thanks, Maureen. Wonderful. And if anyone is watching on YouTube and wants to leave a comment, that would be lovely to let me know that you can hear me okay too. So I'm going to get started on the questions. Okay, well, let me open this up. So Taylor asked me a question from Illinois. I have lower back pain when I first get out of bed in the morning. It takes 20 minutes to rest. So back pain is probably one of the most common pains there is. And so I feel for you, because when you've got back pain, it's almost like you can't think about anything else, right? So I think you're doing a smart thing in that you're giving it a little rest, but I'm going to go over some other techniques that I think will be helpful as well, that can help with any kind of pain. So, I'm going to, so some strategies specifically though for back pain, and you didn't say whether it was upper back pain or lower back pain, but there's a number of things that you can do. A lot of times with back pain, it's a realignment. And so some things you can do, or anything like to improve your posture, is really helpful for back pain. So here's one thing you could do. So a lot of people are going around, especially with their phones and stuff now, their heads are forward like this. I was noticing, I was traveling, and we're doing a lot of traveling in airports and on trains and planes, and you can see everyone looking at their phones, and their heads are down like this. And if you think about it, our head is like, it's a weight, right? And going back to my engineering days, it's when you're tipping forward, it's like a cantilever, and that puts a lot of strain on our neck. So one of the easiest things to do to try to alleviate that pain is think about pushing your chin back, so you get this double chin. Okay, push your chin back, like really tuck it in, and that helps lower the strain there. I would also suggest Now, I love yoga. I know that a lot of positions that we do in yoga are really helpful for lowering back pain, neck pain, and well, really all kinds of pain. So if you're familiar with yoga, I can't really demonstrate it here now, but you could try legs up the wall. So legs up the wall, you're kind of lying in a L shape. So your legs would be sticking up the wall and the rest of your body is lying flat on the floor. You shimmy in and get your hips as close to the wall as possible, and that can really help. It just helps with that alignment. Another thing you can do is a similar position, but instead of your legs being straight up the wall, I'm going to have to turn them around this way. You use a chair. Okay, so you lay the lower parts of your legs on a chair while your back is lying flat on the floor, arms out to a T. And that again, it helps like realign. And so that's a great move to do too. Child's pose is another way to kind of counteract some of the strain that we put on our backs. So child's pose, you're like literally lying on the floor, knees bent, forehead on the mat. Your arms can be behind you or in front of you. And so that's another way to kind of do some realignment and alleviating some of the pressure on your back. Oh yeah, you did say lower back pain. Okay, so lower back pain, that legs up the wall will really help you with that, Taylor. And the same with the legs on a chair or on a table, so that you want a 90-degree angle between the lower part of your legs. I'm trying to do it this way. Lower part of your legs and your calves and your thighs, right? And then the rest of your body is kind of laying flat, arms out to a T. So that really helps. Standing against a wall, if you're standing against a wall, you can actually feel, is your head leaning forward, right? You want to bring your head back against the wall to tuck that chin in. So a lot of back pain is posture. And one of the things that can really help too is they found, doing thousands of studies on back pain, one of the things that across the board helps everyone is rhythmic movement. Now, what's the simplest rhythmic movement we have? Walking. So just out for a walk, your arms are swinging, your legs are moving. That is rhythmic movement. So just getting out for a walk. Obviously, you don't want to be doing it if you're in pain, but if it's a little bit of pain, probably okay, right? A little bit, but not a lot. And I'm going to talk a little bit in a little bit about our brain and how our brain can dial up or dial down the pain. And I'm going to show you ways to dial down the pain. So we might want to combine that. So I'm going to get to that in a moment. So I hope that's helpful, Taylor. Another question I have here. Does anyone else have a question, by the way? I'm just going to pop into Facebook, see if there's any questions there. Not yet. And let's go into YouTube. Don't see any questions there yet. So I'm going to go back to the questions that were submitted ahead of time. So if you're watching live, or even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and put a question in the comments, the chat there, and I'll get back to it. Okay, the next question I have from Judy is, how do I stop nerve pain on the inside top of my foot? It burns every time I sit down to relax and put my feet up. It's also extremely painful to walk after this has happened. Okay, nerve pain. Well, now assuming that this pain is chronic pain and it's not an acute pain, and there's not any physical reason for the pain. I was talking with a friend yesterday who said she's got on the side of her knee, she's got like a little bit of calcium growth on her bone, and the IT band rubs over it every time. I mean, that's like, there's a physical reason for that pain, right? So assuming that this is not one of those things, then the nerve pain, a lot of time our brain is such a great learner. Our brain can actually learn pain. And when it learns pain, it starts like, it just keeps repeating it. It's kind of like learning anything, right? When we learn something, our brains are so good at learning that it creates the neural pathways, and then they get really wired. And the more we notice it, the more, especially if we notice it with fear, we create more and more of those neural pathways. So then the brain becomes, or sorry, the pain becomes almost, well, they call it neuropathic. It's because it's now pathways have been created in the brain. So, so let's talk about, I think I'll dive in here now about some of these ways that we can use our brain to help dial down the pain. So one really powerful technique, if the pain is that neuropathic pain that I've talked about, is using somatic tracking. Okay, so somatic tracking, what does that mean? Somatic means in the body. So we're going to notice, pay attention to our body and where the pain is. Okay, so there's 3 parts to this. The first part is mindfulness. So we're actually going to notice the pain, but we're going to do it in a non-judgmental way. Okay, so normally, I understand this because I had chronic pain, and when you notice the pain, you almost like get into a story about the pain and then create a lot of fear, especially when you start projecting into the future. What this pain might mean. What if it doesn't go away? What's going to happen to my life? All these kinds of things. Now, these all create fear. And when we create fear, guess what? We are naturally wired to pay attention to that, right? Because, we're like animals, right? Living in this world, we're wired to pay attention to fear. So when we have fearful thoughts around the pain, we actually increase those neural pathways. And so what we want to do is mindfulness in a non-judgmental way. So we want to notice the pain, but just notice it. That's interesting. So for you, Judy, that's interesting. I'm noticing on the inside top of my foot. And then you might say it's a burning type of pain. That's interesting. That's interesting. So it's non-judgmental. We really just want to get out of our head and get into the body. And so just noticing the pain, how would you describe it? As if you're just an interested third party noticing this pain. No vested interest in what it might mean in the future, just not getting into any story about it, just paying attention. So that's the first step, the mindfulness step. The second step is what's called safety reappraisal. Now this, by the way, this has been studied. So there's plenty of science behind this. So I want you to know that what I'm telling you today is backed by science, okay? So the second step, safety reappraisal. And safety reappraisal is about reminding yourself as you're noticing. So you've gone through the mindfulness, you're noticing the pain, but you're just reminding yourself, it's not dangerous. I'm not in danger here. This is just a misunderstanding between my brain and my body. That's all it is. It's just a misunderstanding between my brain and my body. It's not dangerous at all. Okay? So we've paid attention with a non-judgmental mindfulness, and then we're giving ourselves a safety reappraisal. We're saying, safe. In this moment, I'm fine. I'm actually fine. Okay? It's just a little misunderstanding between my brain and my body. So that's step number 2. Third step is positive affect induction. Basically, it means paying attention with lightness and curiosity. Now, you may want to, in the scientific studies, what they do is they They have like happy images, something funny going on, like a funny video. They'll have joyful music. So, what could you do to create something positive? I mean, you don't need to be joking and all that, but if you can laugh and smile or feel joy or gratitude, then that's what you want. So you want to have a positive effect happening right when you've also noticed the pain. So you've noticed the pain, you're doing a safety reappraisal, and then you're having a positive effect induction. Okay, so that's somatic tracking. And this is kind of the first steps in really rewiring your brain when it comes to pain. Okay, this is very common that pain just becomes learned by the brain. Because when you think about it, pain isn't really wherever you're feeling it. It's messages that get sent to the brain. The brain takes those messages and interprets it as pain. So it doesn't mean that your pain is in your head. It certainly isn't. It's very real, right? But we can change the interpretation. So that's what we're working on here with the somatic tracking. Is we are working on changing the interpretation. Okay, so that's a very physical approach. But I also want to give you another approach. And that is from an energetic perspective. Okay, so let's kind of back up a little bit and talk about energy and who we are, who we really are. So, when we are having a very physical experience like pain, it's hard to, it's probably not the greatest time to remind anyone that really you're just energy, you're a pile of nothingness, because it feels very real when we're in it, right? But what we know from modern science, which kind of ties in with all of these ancient spiritual practices and wisdom that's been around for thousands of years, that say that we are actually a spiritual being. What do we mean by spiritual? We are actually made of energy. So what we know from quantum science is that when they take the smallest amount of anything, that it's actually like 99.999999999% empty space, and 0.00000 or whatever it is, 1% matter. So we are made up of all of these tiny particles. And so actually we are more empty space, but it's not truly empty space. That empty space is energy. And so we are actually mostly energy. And when energy is kind of flowing as it should be, so we actually have this, it's called a toric field. Do I have a diagram of it? I do have a diagram. This is from my energy codes course, but I'm just going to show you this. So we actually have this energy flowing. So this is from Dr. Sue Morter's energy codes. I'm a certified energy codes facilitator, so that's why I'm showing you this. So we have this, like, think of it like a donut all around us. So we have energy coming down from above, and it goes into the earth, and it circulates. It's constantly circulating. And so we've got this flow of energy that's replenishing all the time. And and when we have pain, it's actually energy not flowing. And this does tie in with the brain stuff as well, because our brain is getting a misinformation signal, right? Energy isn't flowing. So we want to get energy flowing. So how do you get energy flowing? Well, this kind of ties back into some of the somatic tracking that I was talking about. Have you heard the expression, energy goes where your attention goes, energy flows? There we go. Where your attention goes, energy flows. So we're paying attention. We're paying attention to this area. So we're giving it attention. And so energy is flowing there. And I would even say, if we can give it attention, but a loving kind of attention. So we can be either non-judgmental about it, like I talked about with the somatic tracking, but another way is to also think of this painful area as it's just a part of your body that is giving you a signal, telling you that there's something wrong. So if you think about that part as being like a small child or pet that's injured or hurt, and it needs some loving attention. So focus on the area. I would say, even say, kind of do some breath work to calm down first. So breathing in and out through the belly. Long, slow breaths. And actually, another thing we know is that long exhales are actually associated with lowering pain. So inhale, long, slow exhale. And now notice the area. Think of it as a child or a pet that needs a hug. Okay, so think of yourself as hugging that area. Give it that loving attention. Imagine that you're breathing love and light into it. And you can keep doing that. You can sit with that for a while. And then when you feel ready, you can even kind of say, I'm always here for you. Whenever you need me, just let me know. I'll be back. I'm here for you always. Okay. And then you can gently come out of it. So there's another practice for you to do. And I've done this when I lead people through this. I usually get people to say, okay, let's rate your pain out of 10 before we start. Then we spend, 5 minutes or so, or 10 minutes, whatever time we've got, in this breathing and sending loving energy to the area. And then afterwards, rate the pain out of 10 again. And always it's gone down. So for some people, I've heard people say their pain is totally gone after they do this. And then some people will say, well, it was an 8 and it's gone down to a 6. Now that's not nothing. That is pretty amazing, actually. So if you can just, through your focused attention and feeling loving, and through the breath work and using the somatic tracking, if you can dial down your pain, from an 8 to a 6, that's about 25%. So imagine being able to turn down your pain in just one session by 25%. Keep doing it. Do this every day. Do it every day. And I promise you, you can help yourself lower the pain. Okay, I'm going to pop into Facebook again. And I'm going to pop into YouTube channel again. Can I ask questions here? Yes, Yuri, absolutely. Of course. There we go, Yuri. So go ahead and ask questions there. And hopefully I can answer them for you. I'll do my best. Okay, so that was Judy. Next question, Marissa. Marissa said, I have back pain from an auto accident. Is there a natural pain medication that works? I would say, thank you, Yuri. Am I related to Hulk Hogan? Do I look like Hulk Hogan? I mean, maybe we're cousins. Okay, so back to Marissa's question. I have back pain from an auto accident. Is there a natural pain medication that works? I mean, I would say try these practices, Marissa. Try these practices for the back pain. As long as, again, it's not, acute pain is kind of right after the accident. But if it's been around for more than like 2 or 3 months, well, then it's chronic pain. And if it's chronic pain, it could be the neuropathic pain. It probably is energy not flowing. And there are lots of different things that you can do. Like, I really do, because we are made of energy, and energy is vibration and information, then you can Try, there's a lot of different methods, right? So methods like light therapy can be helpful. Any like EMF therapy, or microcurrent. So any like these vibrational type of therapies could be helpful. But I know what I do know is that part of your healing, if not all of your healing, has to come from you. So we heal from the inside, and our thoughts matter, right? So if we're having all these thoughts about the pain that's creating a fear signal in our body, then we we have to be the ones. No one else can change our thoughts, right? So we have to be the ones that are changing our thoughts and taking our body out of that fear state. We cannot heal in a fear state. So just to talk about your nervous system, there are the two branches of the nervous system. One is the parasympathetic state, which is the rest, digest, relax. That should be business as normal state. And then there's the sympathetic state, which people often call fight, flight, fear state. The problem is that we get into this fear state, and when we're in that most of the time, our body is just the signal that then goes down, and the chemistry and biology that gets made in our body, because we're constantly turning over cells, right? Every single cell is getting the message, life or death. Okay, because that's, it just thinks fear. And so it's not going to heal because it's just concerned with self-preservation, not healing. Healing is like long term. So anything that we can do to get ourselves into that parasympathetic state, that rest, digest, relax state, is going to help. The more we can get into that state, the better. Okay, so what are things that you can do? You can just focus on your breath in the moment. You can focus on what you feel grateful for. I mean, it sounds so simple, but when you are focusing on what you're grateful for, you can't be in a state of fear at the same time. So it automatically switches you to the parasympathetic state, which is the healing state. You could do meditation. You don't have to do meditation. Do something that makes you feel good. I was interviewing a lady yesterday, and she said that that she loves to do painting, like watercolor painting. And for her, it's very relaxing. She doesn't think about anything else. She kind of gets into that flow state. And when you're in that state, that's a healing state. When we sleep, we heal, right? So focusing on sleep, getting good quality sleep, all of those things. And I mean, of course, give your body decent food, right? If we're creating, every single cell is recreating all the time. It's the building blocks of you. So you want to be built from quality, right? If you were buying a car, you wouldn't want to buy a car that's been built from crappy parts, right? And crappy materials. You want quality. Well, this vehicle that we're in, right? Our spirit is in this vehicle and animating our life through this vehicle. We want to give it quality, right? So eat quality foods. But I wouldn't even say that that's the starting point. Your thoughts are way more important, right? So I always say this, that you could be eating the best foods, but if you're constantly in a fear state, doesn't even matter. You could be eating crappy foods, but if you're feeling happy and good all the time, then that is what matters more. So your thoughts and feelings matter much more than anything else, because that's what your brain is responding to. And your brain is what's creating the body. Okay, first time I heard Deepak Chopra say this, I was kind of blown away. But the mind creates the body, and the body is constantly being recreated through the chemistries, through the biology, through all of these systems. So we want to recreate. We don't want to keep creating what we already had. If you're in pain, we want to create something different. So in order to do that, you got to change. You got to change what you're thinking. Okay, so did I answer Marissa's question? Is there a natural pain medication that works? I would say try these things that I've been teaching you. But again, other things, if you find other things helpful for you, like, any of these energy type of medicines, you could do acupuncture or even massage or any of those. Anything that you find works for you, that you believe in, is going to be helpful. And trust yourself. Trust yourself that you can even ask yourself, get really quiet and say, what do I need right now? Right? Trust yourself to know that you've got the resources around you that can help you. Okay, let's move on to Dave's question. I have chronic nerve pain in my lower lip that I've been told can only be managed by meds. It affects me every day. How do you stop looking for answers? And how do you stop looking for answers and accept you need meds for the rest of your life? Well, you know what? I don't think I would accept that, right? Just because someone has told you that you will always need meds doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Okay. So here's the thing. We've been conditioned to believe in the authority of our medical system, and I believe that they are coming to us and providing the service that from their hearts they want to help people. So it's not that they're saying anything wrong, but we've been trusted to believe whatever they say is true. We don't have to believe that that is true. Okay. If I listened to what I was told about rheumatoid arthritis, I would be on meds now and I would probably still be in pain and I'd be having a whole bunch of other side effects and maybe down the road have cancer. But I chose not to believe it. I chose to believe that there was something that I could do. And I believed it. And I also committed to never giving up, never giving up. And now I'm pain free. I did reverse it all. And if I can do it, you can do it. I'm just an ordinary person. I'm not I'm not extraordinary. I'm just ordinary person, just like you. So I would say, don't accept it. Use these techniques that I was talking about here. So for your lip, I also like to think about, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but so I talked about energy, and I'm a yoga teacher as well. So we know from these ancient spiritual practices that we have these energy centers called chakras, but you could just call them energy centers that are associated with the endocrine system. And so there are 7 of them in our core here. And so often there's different, there are emotions associated with each of them. So, so lower back pain, okay, and your foot back. So if you think about those are like structural. They're very like support and structural issues. So I would look at that root chakra. So the root chakra is all about your sense of safety and support. So do you feel safe in the world? And so what could you do to help yourself feel more safe in the world? So for safety, I would say gratitude, right, is a big one. I want to move on to Dave and the lower lip. So the throat chakra here is all about expression in the world, and it's not just speaking. It's all kinds of expression in the world. So I would kind of look at your life and say, so this applies to like anything with the mouth, the neck, the ears, like tinnitus, different things like this. If in this area, if you have pain in that area, ask yourself, am I not expressing myself, my truth in the world? Like, am I constantly holding back and not expressing myself? How could you express yourself more? Maybe it's through speaking. Maybe it's through writing. Maybe it's through, so maybe you want to do some journaling. Maybe it's through artwork. So that's some other like strategies, right? To try. How could where am I not expressing myself? How could I express myself more? Because that's, if you're not expressing yourself, that's that energy blockage, right? So we want to allow that energy. So I would say for Dave, try some of these techniques that I talked about. that you are fine, like the somatic tracking, try sending energy to the area as if it feeling that it was a small child that needed some love or a pet. And then also do some things to help express yourself. Okay. Another great tool that is good for really any of these is emotional freedom technique, tapping. So it's just a way, lots of times our energy isn't flowing because we've been storing emotions, right? So that just reminded me with the not expressing yourself. So we're like buttoning our lips, not expressing ourselves. And so our energy can get stuck. And so if that's happening, then emotional freedom technique may help you as well. So there's tons of YouTube videos. I'm not certified in it, but it's like tapping. It's kind of tying in modern psychology with meridian points, like the ancient Chinese meridian points. You're tapping on points while you're making statements. Okay, and I know for myself, the first time I tried this, I had certain statements, and the tapping sequence that I did was specifically for arthritis pain. And I had a huge emotional release. I was just like crying when I did it. And usually what I have found with the people that I work with and with myself, when we have these emotional releases, it's often because it's a truth being expressed that we haven't been acknowledging. So try tapping as well. It's a great tool, and you can kind of do it anywhere. Let me see. Sharon says, if there's a trigger point, such as a vertebra compression, can non-medical treatment help manage the level of pain experience? Absolutely. Like all of these things that I've talked about can absolutely help you. Now, I will say that a lot of this does or is affected by your beliefs, right? So if you believe that it's going to work, it probably will work. If you don't believe it, then it probably won't. So our beliefs really do have a huge impact in these, I would call them like mind, body, and energetic techniques. Okay, so what could you do to help support beliefs that support these? Well, you follow people, look up stories. That's something that I did. I kept on seeking out stories of people that had healed from rheumatoid arthritis, because I said, if they can do it, I can do it. And so, like, look up Joe Dispenza, for example. He's got tons of testimonials on his website, YouTube channel, on people that have healed using these different techniques. I mean, they're mind-body techniques. But what I want you to understand is, and I want you to feel empowered, right? So through this empowerment and understanding that you are the one that's controlling this environment that your cells are bathing in, then you can make a difference, right? You can change this environment and create an environment that the cell that supports the healthy reproduction of cells, or reproduction of healthy cells. So that was the questions that I had submitted ahead of time. I got some that have come in on the YouTube channel. Chronic. So Frederico says, hello, thank you. I'm in chronic pain in my back since I had 4 surgeries. If you can suggest something. Yes. So assuming again that there's no structural reason, that the surgeries have been successful, I would focus on. Now, here's another thing I haven't really brought up, but I love this technique. And actually, I've got a 6-step system called the Design Blueprint. And the first step of that Design Blueprint, D, is desire. So this is something I did for myself, and I found that it really works, is I created a vision of how I would live. How would I live and how would I feel if I had my health back? What would I be doing? So I imagined I imagine that I was like climbing a mountain. I love to hike. So I imagine I was climbing a mountain. I was up at the top of the mountain, raising my arms in victory. And I imagine going on a sailboat and hoisting the sails up. Now, at the time, my hands, I had so much pain in my hands, I had no grip strength. So to think about like pulling a sail up on a sailboat was a big deal. So that was part of my vision. I imagine like crawling around and throwing like a grandchild up in the air and catching them. And just when I had these visions, I felt so joyful. And so every day I would do this visualization practice. I would do the visualization practice and imagine that I was there. Now, what we know from neuroscience is that our brains cannot tell the difference between an image that has been put there, imagined in our head, or actually seen through our eyes. It cannot tell the difference. So we just plant the vision that we want there. Okay. But it's not just about that. It's also about the feelings, and the fundamental laws of the universe tells us that so feelings in the body are actually vibrations, right? They are visceral. And so when you have feelings of joy, like, you know what that feels like, right? You know what love feels like. You know what sadness feels like. These are vibrations in the body, and our cells are picking up on that. But not only that, it's a vibration that we're sending out in the world. And we know from the fundamental laws of the universe that what we put out comes back to us. It's like, okay, you said that out. It's like a photocopy machine, and we'll send it back. So what's the photocopies you want to be sending back to you? Do you want to be sending back photocopies of fear and pain? Or do you want to be sending back photocopies of living your best, vibrant life? So it sounds a little hokey pokey, but it really does work. So take charge of this. Create these visions for yourself. Okay, so I hope that helps. So with your surgery, so all of these techniques that I've been talking about. So someone else said, I'm in chronic pain all over from fibromyalgia for 35 years. And on medications and a sleep aid. Cannot find a doctor to help me. I cry every day with chronic pain. I'm so sorry to hear this. I want you to have hope. So you said there that you have lost hope. I want you to have hope. Okay. Believe that you can heal. There are many people that have healed from fibromyalgia. Okay. So I want you to have hope that you can. Create that vision. Create that vision of yourself. What would you be doing? Come back to that every day. And I'm also I want to tell you about the power of affirmations as well. So affirmations are a way that we can reprogram our subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind over 35 years has gotten a lot of messaging, right, that we want to change. And probably even, subconsciously from childhood, right, we've gotten messages. Well, most definitely we have gotten messages from childhood. And so we want to reprogram the subconscious mind. So one way we can do that is through repetition. So we can do it with the visual images. We can also do it with affirmations, because then we're getting like an audible. So starting with I am, and then whatever, like, write statements down that are aligned with feeling better. So, it might be, you kind of got to be careful with affirmations that you choose ones that your subconscious mind isn't going to reject outright. Okay. So you might say, these are some that worked for me. So I'll just share them with you. I said in the beginning, I am healing every day. Every day and in every way, I'm getting better and better. So I could believe that in a little bit every day I was getting better. Another one that I really loved for me was that I am a healing machine. I am a healing machine. And you know what? That's true for all of us, because your body is always going to try to heal as long as but it's a feedback mechanism, right? So we want to give it the inputs of safety, the inputs of life is good, the inputs of I am fine and this is okay, the inputs of that vision, the inputs of I am a healing machine, or whatever works for you. When we change the input, we get a different output. I know I'm really speaking like an engineer here, but it's actually the truth, right? It's just the body is a feedback mechanism. It's a reflection of your thoughts. Okay, so start switching your thoughts. Just even if you're saying I lost hope, you could say I am feeling, even if your beginning part is I'm feeling a little bit of hope. I'm feeling a little bit of hope. Every day I have a little bit more hope. And then you can change, keep like, as you get better, you change and make these feelings and the words that you're using stronger. Okay. So I really, I want you to have hope. Everything is possible. Your body is never going to give up trying to heal you. You've got to do your part by giving it the inputs that are going to be helpful. Now, I will say for fibromyalgia, I know you said you have insomnia. So getting quality sleep, like just really prioritizing sleep, because sleep is when we heal. Yeah. How do you do that if you've got insomnia? Um, if you've got insomnia, then, do all the strategies for sleep hygiene that are helpful. So actually, a good night's sleep starts with exposing your eyes to sunlight first thing in the morning. If you can do it within 30 minutes of waking up, that's really helpful. And then having routines. So our body loves routines. So having routines every day, going to bed at 10 o'clock every night, or by 10 o'clock every night. In that last hour, at least before going to bed, do not look at screens. Okay. Do something relaxing. Send all of the signals to your brain that it's time to relax and go to sleep. And then if you are awake at night, then instead of like making it into a story, like I'm not sleeping, this isn't good, I can't get sleep, kind of say to yourself, I'm resting, and just practice breathing. So while you are awake, practice long, deep, slow breaths into the belly. You can even imagine breath coming out through in through the top of your head and down into your belly, and then exhaling out through your feet, and then inhaling again up through the legs into the belly, and then slowly exhaling up through and out through the top of your head. So just use that time if you're awake at night, use that time to focus on breathing. So I will say to you, Jay, on YouTube, that, oops, what did I do there? Okay. The story that you're telling yourself. So if you continue to tell yourself a story that I've lost hope, then that is going to be, your reality. So as hard as it may be, or as simple as it may seem, this is where you start. You start telling yourself a different story. Okay? And that is the beginning. And it's like the more you can get that little wedge in the door, the bigger and bigger and bigger you can make that wedge, and then eventually get the door open. So, my love, I hope that helps. So if you're sleeping in, that's okay. Just say my body needs this right now. And so that's okay. Kind of keep telling yourself, in this moment, I'm safe and I'm fine. So go back and watch this video. Go back to where I talked about somatic tracking. Go back to where I talked about breathing into the spaces with the energy. And for you, if it's your whole body, imagine like breathing, and that as you inhale, you're filling your body with like sparkling healing light. Okay. Filling your whole body. If you don't have a particular area then just imagine that. So go back and watch this. Do this over and over again, and be patient and kind with yourself. And that's everything we want to do, is to send a signal to our brain that all is okay. All is okay. Even if it's not super fantastic right now, it's okay. And so we want to keep putting ourselves back into that parasympathetic state. So I hope that helps, my friend. I'm going to go on to Facebook. Didn't get any new questions there, but that's fine. So if you're watching the replay and you have any questions, go ahead and put those into the comments, and I will see them at some point, and I will come back and answer them. And actually, I wanted to tell you about, I'm doing let me go find the link. I'm doing a webinar next week. So let me just copy that, and I'm going to put a link to the webinar in the comments. I'm going to putting it into Facebook here, and I'm going to go put it in YouTube as well. So here we go. So come to my webinar next week. I'm going to be talking about a few more of these things, and be patient. I know some of you, and I really feel for you, Jay, if it's been a long road. Change the story. Start changing the story, even just the tiniest bit, and then you will begin to create the environment in your body so that your body can heal. If you choose not to, right? If you continue with the thoughts, so let's just work on thoughts. Thoughts are totally within our control, right? We think they aren't, but your thoughts are totally within your control. So when the first step is being aware of your thoughts. So start noticing your thoughts. And I mean, it's hard to notice every single thought because we have 60, 80,000 thoughts a day. But in general, what are my thoughts supporting my path to wellness, or if they're not? And if they're not, start changing them. Maybe in the beginning, you need to wear a bracelet to remind you, or like Post-it notes, or put things around you. You'll need to have a lot of reminders to go, there we go. I'm aware that I've got thoughts that aren't supporting me. Start bringing them back. Your thoughts are totally within your control. You can choose whatever thought you want. Okay. These really are your choice. And I know it's hard. Like, I totally feel, and I have compassion for you about pain, because I was in pain too. But here's, and I've told this analogy a lot, but I'm going to say it again here because some of you may be hearing it for the first time. When I was at my worst with pain, I used to think about it this way, that if I could create little moments without pain, like I could do just by focusing on the breath for a few minutes, okay? In those few minutes, I didn't have any pain. Or distracting yourself with something that you like to do, painting, or thinking about something from the past that brought you joy or happiness, or visioning a future where you've got your strength and vitality back. If you can do those little things, and in those little moments, you're getting little moments of safety, of no pain, and where things you're shifting, right? You're shifting to the parasympathetic state. I thought of those as pearls. And so I kind of noticed that, wow, when I was doing that body scan, I didn't have any pain. So I couldn't really sit down and do a body scan all day long, but if I could keep doing these little moments, right, where I had pain, and I could string them together, then eventually I would have a full pearl necklace, right? So see if you can create these little pearls of moments where you are not judging the pain or in a negative way. Like maybe you can even not feel the pain, but maybe you're starting with not judging the pain. And the judgment is just a thought, and you can change your thoughts. So give that a try. I have so much compassion for you and hope for you. This is my mission, to help people understand the power that they have, the power that you have in creating a healing environment in your body. You have so much power. You don't even know it, but you are so powerful. Okay, my friends, it's been great to spend this time with you. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you again. Follow my channel if you haven't already. Like the video, leave comments, and I hope to see you again soon. And if you've got questions, please go ahead and post them. And I hope it helps. Let me know how it's going. All righty. Take care. Bye.